This is Kim. She's our neighbor here at the RTR. And hi, Kim.
Hi.
She built the labyrinth that Sharon was walking through. And Kim, did you want to tell us a little bit of exactly what a labyrinth is and what it entails and just general information about it?
Sure. So for your viewers who are not familiar with labyrinths, a lot of times I'll say, do you know what a labyrinth is? And people will say, oh yeah, I know that David Bowie movie, or oh yeah, like in The Shining with the hedges. And I gently correct them and I say, that's actually not a labyrinth, even though they might call it that. It's a maze. And the difference is that a maze is like a mental puzzle. So it's meant to challenge you, right? You have to get in, get out, you can go the wrong way, you can get turned around, you can hit dead ends. Whereas a labyrinth is meant to be more like a meditative walk. So it's not trying to challenge or trick you, it's just one simple path to the center and then the same single path back out. And you can use them a whole lot of ways. One way that I shared with Sharon was that you can use it to get some inner guidance or some direction or some clarity or some inspiration. So I tell people, think of the 3 R's, and here's the 3 R's. So you can hold a problem, a challenge, a question in your mind. And as you walk to the center, just ruminate on it. Just think the whole thing through, just everything and anything. Just let all that chatter, go. Let it all run through. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully by the time you get to the center, you've emptied most of that out so that you can stand there and be still and just receive. You might catch a word, an idea, a thought, and then when you feel ready, you can begin to walk back out, and then you can reflect on what you received. And then I always tell people, and if you didn't receive anything, that's okay. You can just reflect on how that was for you on the way out. So I just invite people. There is, I think it's www.labyrinthlocator, and they will actually tell you whatever city or state you're in, they'll let you know where there are labyrinths that are available to go walk. So if that's something that intrigues you or interests you and you'd like to find one in your area, that's a good way. I have a website called Kim T Coaching, and I have a lot more information about labyrinths there. So again, if you'd like to know more, I invite you to pop on over and check that out.
Okay.
And how did you get started making the labyrinths?
Okay, so the shorter story is I am writing a book. I wrote a book. I've written a book that needs to be revised, and I haven't worked any more on it. But the story of the book is, it's called Lure of the Labyrinth, if it ever gets created and published. And it's a story of a therapist who moves to the forest after having something sort of dramatic and traumatic happening. And she makes a labyrinth, and she winds up attracting a lot of people who come to walk the labyrinth, and she helps them through their own individual healings, and of course in the journey of that winds up healing herself. And when I started writing the book, I'm trained as a therapist, so I know all about therapists, and I was living up in the forest, so I felt fairly familiar with being able to write about the forest. But what I didn't know anything about was labyrinths, so I thought I better do some research on that. And my research very quickly and synchronistically led to, I found a woman who does labyrinth facilitation. They were having a workshop. The cost of the workshop was exactly what a bonus check I just got was. So you know how that goes. And I went to the workshop, and ever since then, I just have sort of been I have a compulsive need to make labyrinths when I go places and the environment like here is conducive. And I kind of say it's like my mashed potatoes. And what I mean by that, for those people in the audience that remember Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Richard Dreyfuss, and he gets obsessed with the mountain, right? Everywhere he goes, he sees the mountain. He's making it out of mashed So whenever I go places, I build them. You know, I've rented cabins for a month, and I'm like, can I make a labyrinth in your backyard? So that's sort of me in the labyrinth, and I've created a really quick little template kit that the idea would be it's easy to take. You can go out hiking somewhere and find a space big enough, and you can actually lay down a labyrinth and walk it, and then pick it up and leave. Or what I've been doing is I use it as a template. And then I sort of trade it out for whatever is organically near me. I've made them out of pine cones, pine needles, in this case the rocks. So that is me and the labyrinth. And Sharon, I want to thank you for my amazing, look at this hat she crocheted. Isn't this not the cutest thing? I love it.
Oh, great.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
you like it.
So one other question I have, Kim. What happens when you leave? Like, do you just leave the labyrinth there, or do you also you just leave it as is?
I do.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's
we'll find out
fascinating.
next year if it's
It's still there. There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kim.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And nice meeting all of you.
If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up below.
And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.